Okay, so we're going to be talking about one of these animes, so let's get this out of the way.
Tenchi, I'll be glad to bear a child if the child is yours. Wah, 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 wah.
Strap in, my friends. This is going to be a long one. Ah, yes, Tenchi Muyo, the absolute cream of the anime crop. Now, some of you may be saying, Tenchi Muyo, that sounds pretty serious. You should get that checked out. I can't. My health insurance doesn't cover a relevant anime from the 90s. I checked. Tenchi Muyo is a franchise that's been with me for a stupid long time, and I've always wanted to talk about it, but I never really had a chance. But now, it's finally time to get us out of my system. It's a seasonal thing. I have a feeling a lot of you guys are going, my friend Cameron, I'm the biggest, smelliest anime fan there is, and I've never even heard of a Tenchi Muyo. And there is a decent reason for you not knowing that it's a thing. Because Tenchi Muyo is a fucking dead franchise. Tenchi Muyo used to be hot shit, especially in the 2000s. It was one of the biggest early heavy hitters on Toonami back in the day.
Tenchi Muyo, starting Monday. Love stinks. Only Toonami.
Tenchi was relatively running pretty consistently from the 90s all the way into 2023, but it's definitely safe for me to say that it isn't the big franchise it once was, and the general modern anime public doesn't know anything about it. If I called the police and said, help, someone broke into my house and stole all my Tenchi DVDs, they would go, who? There has barely been any Tenchi stuff happening as of late. You know, sure, we got some of the light novels translated, and that Kickstarter to republish the American comics did a lot better than I expected. I actually donated that Kickstarter myself. I'm doing my part. What the fuck are you doing? The Tenchi franchise is one of my earliest anime darlings, but at some point, it just fell out from underneath me and I went a long time without watching it. However, there was one aspect of the Tenchi franchise that was able to pull me back in. The movies, baby! Me discovering these movies actually happened by pure chance. I was at my most favorite place in the world, McKay's. It's a used media store where you can buy books and games and movies.
I shopped here.
And in their anime section, they had the first Tenchi Muyo movie, Tenchi Muyo in Love. Let's pretend this is the first movie. I looked at it and went, wow, Tenchi Muyo, I haven't seen this in years, I should watch it. So naturally, I didn't buy it. I hadn't seen Tenchi in ages, who knew if I still would have liked it, and the $4 they were asking for that DVD was way too high of a gamble for me. So instead of doing that, I just watched it online. And it was like seeing a friend I hadn't seen in ages. So naturally, I found out there were two other Tenchi movies and I wanted to watch them. And what I found was interesting. So interesting, I want to talk about that trilogy right now, right here, online. But I should probably talk about what the hell a Tenchi franchise even is. But if you already know what that is, you can skip right here. But I know most of you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, so sit your ass back down. Alright, I'm going to try and start small. Tenchi Muyo originally began as an OVA series created by Masaki Kajishima and directed by Hiroki Hayashi. The OVA meaning original video animation, came out in September of 1992, with the rest of its 6 episodes coming out every month or so. The way OVAs worked back in the day is that an animation studio would release something for the home media market on a Laserdisc or VHS, and they would use the funds from that episode to fund the next episode. Sometimes companies would plan out their stories for their OVAs if they kept getting more episodes, but Tenchi very much feels like it's flying by the seat of its pants. Okay, I'm already getting ahead of myself. I need to shut the fuck up. The setup for the first OVA is that high schooler Tenchi Masaki unknowingly unleashes the space pirate Ryoko, which causes Princess Ayeka from Jirai to come to Earth so she can finally stop her. Through a couple of meet-cutes and a violent skirmish in Ryoko's case, the three form a love triangle, with Ryoko and Ayeka falling in love with Tenchi, while Tenchi remains somewhat indifferent to their feelings.
Oh, Tenchi, I want you to flirt with me too.
Ah, get serious.
Well, fine, you can flirt with Ayeka, but not with me, huh? Be that way.
What does she want from me?
He never cold-heartedly rejects either of them. He just wants to hang out with all of them and be a normal guy and just plant carrots and all that, but he's always there for the girls when they need him. Other characters introduced in the OVA's 6 episodes are Ayeka's little sister Sasami, Galaxy Police Inspector Mihoshi, Mad Scientist Washu, and in the last 2 episodes, the villain Kagato. Yeah, he doesn't show up until the last 2 episodes. Oops. Tenchi discovers that he's actually descended from an ancient lineage from Jirai thanks to Katsuhito on his mother's side, and with that, he has the power to slay Kagato and save the day. With the last 2 episodes filling up the main conflict, all of the preceding episodes kind of take on a slice of life sort of feel, with all the girls being introduced every episode or so. A lot of people swear that this OVA is the best of the Tenchi franchise, and I am not of that opinion. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot to like here. I like how we get 2 little halves of what makes Tenchi so awesome. You get slice of life and the cool sci-fi plot. All the characters are great, the animation is awesome, especially in HD, and the dub is perfect.
A mummy.
But I kind of have a problem with the Dash story and the fact that this OVA has been absolutely obliterated by too much world building in the OVAs that came after it. It's kind of like a Star Wars extended universe thing. They have absolutely destroyed every minute little detail thanks to way too much world building and lore. The difference with Star Wars and Tenchi, however, is with Star Wars, I can just watch the movies and ignore everything else if I want to, and I'm not missing a lot. But with Tenchi, yeah, all that unnecessary fluff is forced into the main thing, and I just don't care. I know this is totally a me problem and a skill issue, I guess, and some people like all the world building and lore, but something that is also a me problem is all the unfortunate relationships these characters have with each other. Fun fact, I've had to rewrite this portion of the video a lot because I was either overselling it or underselling it, so instead, I'm just going to play some clips from the OVA.
One day, I will be a bride, won't I, Yosho?
When you grow up.
We're related too, I guess.
Yosho is my half-brother. Here on Earth, you may think it odd to marry your brother, but on Jirai, it's not. Even though my parents arranged it, I was happy about it.
Music's pretty good, though. Shoutouts to Talent for Love. Gotta be one of my favorite ending themes for an anime. Unfortunately, this situation gets a lot worse with every character, I might add. Do yourself a favor, don't look up a family tree of these characters. But all the good stuff I have to say about the OVA still stands. If only there was another Tenchi product that had all of this stuff. Boy, do I have the solution for me. Allow me to introduce to you your next great love.
Can't escape it, ain't no use in trying. No exceptions, love will leave you crying to death. You're a broken man,
Yes, Tenchi Universe, the TV re-adaptation of the OVA. I'm going to set everything I love about the Tenchi Muyo franchise against Universe because it's my favorite and it's also the baseline for the movies we'll be talking about later. All of my problems with the OVA have been rectified here. The somewhat sloppy story from the OVA because it only had 6 episodes to work with, gone. Universe has 26 episodes, more than enough. And they redid all the lore and lineage for Universe. It takes place in its own continuity this time, a continuity that has relationships that don't make me want to hurl. And I can't possibly forget about the best addition Universe gave us, Kiyone, partner of Mihoshi.
You've come all this way to find your partner, Mihoshi. You must have been terribly worried about her.
Oh, to see Mihoshi alive and well makes me so very mad. I mean, so very glad.
If this show had legs, it would get turbo late with how competent it is. Universe is a re-adaptation of the original OVA, but with some slight tweaks and detours to make sure this doesn't happen again. Lots of beats are still the same. The girls are introduced episode by episode, but the contexts have been changed and streamlined for some. The way Ryoko is set up, for instance, instead of being sealed away on Earth, she crash lands on Earth after being attacked by Mihoshi. But certain character stuff is still here, like how Ayeka and Ryoko know each other, but instead, like in the OVA, where Ryoko attacked Ayeka's planet Jirai, now they still know each other in universe, but it's just through petty childhood squabbles, no real big drama. We also have the 26 episode runtime, which in my opinion, is actually a pretty good length to tell a story. You can get a lot done in 26 episodes. The way Universe does it is in 3 separate arcs. Episodes 1 through 10 form the On-Earth arc, where we get to have all the characters set up episode by episode, and we get to see them chill out and have a good time. This is probably my favorite arc of the show. Lots of moments of all the characters hanging out, the carnival episode is a big highlight, and we get episodes seeing what Mihoshi and Kiyone get up to when they are being space police. Episodes 11 and 13 form the mini arc In Time. This arc is just a fun little excursion for the show. It follows all the characters going to different universes to explore all the girls' fantasies.
We've done it, Tenchi! Haha! There's nothing like robbing a bank, huh?
This isn't me. This isn't what I do. Why am I doing this? What am I doing here?
Hey, we're having fun, aren't we?
I don't find this amusing at all!
Well, I do!
My favorite bit of the arc is easily Kiyone, where all she wants to do is just live in a peaceful little seaside town away from her horrible partner Mihoshi.
That's right, because we two are partners forever. We two are partners forever. We two are partners forever.
A lot of people may say some of the episodes in On Earth and the In Time arc are just filler, and yeah, I guess that's true. A lot of these episodes really fit the definition of filler, but Tenchi Muyo is a franchise that's just as much about the story as it is about the characters. These filler episodes are just as important as episodes that have lore or character intros. What we may lose on a story progression angle, we get to build up the character front. There are tons of emotional beats in this show that rely on the time we spent with these characters, and the movies especially rely on our relationship with these characters. There's a great little moment Tenchi and Ryoko have towards the end of the In Time arc, and it shows, for the most part, Ryoko really does care about Tenchi and isn't just being a flirt.
Ryoko, I am...
Don't say anything now, Tenchi. Otherwise, we'll never make it back.
Ryoko.
But someday, Tenchi, I will take you on a real journey with me.
Which makes this moment before the final fight hit that much more. We believe Ryoko, and we really believe that she has these feelings for Tenchi.
Oh.
I'm a space pirate, and a powerful one. I could just steal you away if I wanted to. Oh, don't go, Tenchi. Please, don't, I beg you.
With that being said, the In Space arc is where the story really gets going. The villain Kagato is back, and Grandpa Katsuhito is revealed to be the Crown Prince of Jirai, Yosho. Apparently Yosho and Kagato had a silly squabble in their youth, and after Yosho bested Kagato in battle, Yosho would go off into self-exile onto Earth, where he would eventually have a family that would spawn Tenchi. This arc has a very much appreciated upping of Tenchi. With Kagato being back, he manages to frame Tenchi and the whole gang as space fugitives, which means it's at least going to take 12 episodes to get this solved. This arc still has some filler in it, but it's all fun for the most part. I really like the episode where they all have to sneak through a police checkpoint and all the characters have to don disguises, including Tenchi, which leads to this line.
Everything looks okay, but did you know your frame happens to be very masculine?
Well, I have a father who's a man.
The final episode of Universe is great. Kagato is defeated, peace is restored to the galaxy, and we spend time seeing what all the characters are getting up to. There's an underlying feeling of sadness in this episode. All of the girls are going back on their own again? What the hell's happening? But of course, it doesn't end on a downer. All the girls make their way back to Earth and to Tenchi, and they can have hundreds of implied adventures together. Except for Kagato, he's dead and never comes back. So yeah, Tenchi Universe is probably my favorite Tenchi thing. It's got great characters, a great story. What's not to love? But then you start to ask, what does that mean for the rest of the franchise? Oh my god, look at all these different shows. You would have to be foolish to watch all of this. Right? The OVA, 5 out of 10. Because I only watched the first 2 OVAs, you can't make me watch the rest. Universe, 10 out of 10. What do you think I've been discussing this whole time? Tenchi in Tokyo, 6 out of 10. This is like the crack cocaine of the franchise for me. I know it's bad for me, but I just can't help shoving it up my nose. Pretty Sammy. You know, I actually haven't watched any of the Pretty Sammy shows, but I feel like I have because they use her in everything all the goddamn time. Come on, guys, just give it a rest. Photon the Idiot Adventures. Did you know this seemingly unrelated OVA is connected to the Tenchi franchise only because the original creator said it was years after it came out? 6 out of 10. Spaceship Agaruder. You see, I could go all day talking about some Spaceship Agaruder, but I can't because this one is Dual Parallel Trouble Adventures. Now, I actually don't watch a lot of giant robot stuff. It's not my go-to genre, but I've been watching this and it's pretty good. I like it. Tenchi Muyo GXP. Now, let me get this straight. This is a show about the Galaxy Police, but where the hell is Keone? God! 2 out of 10. War on Geminar. I may have lost the war, but this won the battle. 1 out of 10. I Tenchi Muyo. Stop! The latest Tenchi show is technically the sequel to GXP, Paradise starting from 2023, but come on. Do I really look like I give a shit? And I haven't even touched stuff like the mangas and light novels, and there's also the video games and the movies and the albums and the live shows. Like seriously, where the hell does this franchise get off? One little aspect about the franchise I actually do like is the special OVA for Mihoshi, the Mihoshi special. For some reason only God knows, I wrote up a review for this way back in the day. I must have been head over heels for this thing. Unfortunately, that script along with all the notes I had for that video have been lost to time. So I thought, why not? Let's fulfill a lifelong destiny and finally review the Mihoshi special. It's good. But all of this begs the question. My friend Cameron, you are the Ebenezer Scrooge of the Tenchi franchise. Surely there has to be something else you like besides Universe and the Mihoshi special. And to that I say yes. I love the Tenchi Muyo movies. It's like a flash of my fucking dollars. Man, look at that. Remember when this was all just a setup for me to talk about the movies? Tenchi Muyo got 3 theatrically released movies. In Love in 1996, Daughter of Darkness in 97, and Tenchi Forever in 1999. These movies are all connected to Universe, and they are absolutely bonkers and or brilliant in their own way. These 3 movies make up one of my favorite film trilogies of all time, and by the end of this video, you will either completely agree with me or think I'm completely off my gourd. But let's start with our first movie, Tenchi Muyo, In Love. I said earlier how this movie was my big reintroduction to the Tenchi franchise. But did you know this was also a generation's first exposure to Tenchi? I can't believe this happened, but Tenchi Muyo In Love was the first Tenchi thing America ever got. Can you imagine showing this to someone who has no idea what Tenchi is? It'd be like showing a caveman a lighter. What the fuck? In Love made its way to American VHS on August 20th of 1996, and then it aired a week later on the Sci-Fi Channel. This was back when they had good movies and not the third Sharknado film.
We'll see how much power you have.
It's time to accelerate!
Mother!
Case back! Incoming! Engage!
Tenchi Muyo In Love, next on the Sci-Fi Channel.
They also put this one out on DVD in 1997, and I'm only talking about it because of its absolutely crazy packaging. Yeah, a freaking jewel case. What is this, a CD? Am I going to put this on my Yamaha and listen to it on my couch? I didn't know this movie came out in this packaging. There is a more traditional DVD case design for this, which has the same box art. But when I went back to McKay's to find that, it wasn't there anymore. So I bought this off of Amazon a week later. And imagine my surprise when I opened the package and this fell out of the cardboard sleeve and smashed into my foot. I'm not angry though. This is a really cool curio of my collection. I'm glad I have this version of In Love. It is the exact same version, as far as I know, to the more traditional version, but I don't know. This one has a lot of charm to it. I like it. Anyway, yeah, the movie. We were talking about the movie. In Love starts with a great hook. The space criminal Kane has broken out of confinement and has taken out all the Galaxy Police, except for Keone and Mihoshi, of course. Kane passes over the Earth, causing the Aurora Borealis.
Look at that, the Aurora Borealis.
Smash cut to Tenchi, who's about to find out that walking down the stairs is going to be a lot more difficult now that he's disappearing.
This was the first indication I had that I was going to vanish.
Hot buttered popcorn, now that's an opening. I wonder what will happen next. I cannot tell you why after such a cool opening, the movie decides to shoot itself in the foot in pacing and mood to deliver a highlight reel of all the characters going to school. It will be important later, I assure you. But this couldn't wait like 10 minutes. The only reason I can think of to why the movie does this is because when In Love came out, Universe had been off the air for a little over a year at this point, so this was the big reintroduction of all the characters. But that still kind of sucks because we get introduced to all the characters in the very next scene, so this scene was unnecessary. This is one of the reasons I feel like this movie was kind of a first poor impression for America to have on Tenchi. Imagine watching this great sci-fi opening and then watching a sizzle reel of characters you don't know yet. I don't know why the movie just didn't cut to Tenchi hanging out with the girls after the title card. We keep the opening of Kane breaking out, we get to see the girls, and we still get the sting of Tenchi disappearing. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm talking about it, the raw opening we get raises more questions. When Tenchi disappears, he says this was the first time he started disappearing, but in the very next scene, after the sizzle reel, he's just hanging out with the girls. Like, why does he do that? Did he start disappearing and shrug it off? Was he like, oh man, my fingers are gone. Let's go see what the girls are up to. The reason Tenchi is disappearing is because Kane has gone back in time to 1970 and has killed Tenchi's mother, Achika, meaning Tenchi was never born. Because Achika is descended from Katsuhito, who comes from Jirai, it means Achika holds Jirai in power, which Kane hates because Jirai and the Galaxy Police put him in timeout all those years ago, so Achika is on his shit list. So that means Tenchi and the girls have to go back in time to get Achika off the menu. With this being the big screen debut of Tenchi and all the girls, you're probably wondering how the movie handles them all. I like how all the girls are immediately on board to help Tenchi and save his mother. We will see them go to even greater lengths for Tenchi in the third movie, but I always loved how all the girls are immediately down to help out Tenchi, really shows how much they care about him. As far as characterizations go, everything's on point. Ayeka and Ryoko are always bickering, Mihoshi's a ditz, and Kiyone is still the best character. You can't change my mind on that.
Good morning, everybody. How are you all today? I hope you all managed to get a restful sleep last night. Be polite children now, please.
You little brats.
Kiyone actually gets a lot to do in this movie. She's positioned as being the adult of the group, and she's more in the know on what the game plan is along with Washu so they can stop Kane. Oh yeah, and Washu gives them the means to time travel in this one. Yeah, she can create time travel, what of it? And I'm not kidding when I say the characterizations are on point. You could go from watching the end of Universe to watching In Love right away, and you wouldn't be able to tell it took a year for In Love to come out after Universe ended. One thing that I love about this movie and all the other movies is that they give all the characters cool, unique outfits to wear. Mihoshi gets a fun little spin on her pink outfit, Ayeka has a new sweater as well, and Ryoko has a boob window. Ooga. Mihoshi gets a fun little spin on her pink outfit, and Ayeka gets a really cute sweater too. Ryoko puts a little boob window into her school uniform, which is very in line with a boob window she had in the beginning of the movie, which means I have a thematic reason to talk about boobs. I said nothing wrong, hee-haw. Sasami looks adorable in that baseball cap. I love the Bruce Lee long street thing Kiyone has going on, and Tenchi looks sharp in that varsity jacket. Speaking of Tenchi, some people might say he kind of has nothing to do in this movie. And yeah, I guess so. Tenchi doesn't really interact with anyone outside the main cast out of fear of creating a time paradox, and he's also suffering from that space-time continuum scurvy, so he's down for the count for a lot of the runtime. The girls do a lot of heavy lifting in this movie. They're the ones who have to constantly shadow Achika and Nobuyuki to make sure Kane doesn't come out of nowhere and snipe them, and they're also heavily involved in the final battle. But I feel like Tenchi's lack of activists in the plot isn't that egregious of a sin, because I've always seen Tenchi as the anchor to the plot to this movie, and the plot to everything going back to Universe. He's the anchor that holds all the characters together. Tenchi is mostly the reason all the girls stick around on Earth, and if you remove Tenchi from the story, well, there's no reason for anything to happen. And yeah, this movie is about Tenchi's parents. It reminds me of someone, I don't know, Tenchi. Tenchi does get a lot to do in the final battle, though. He becomes Super Tenchi so he can help save his parents and slay Kane with the help of Ayeka, Ryoko, and Kiyone. Some might say that's a cop-out, this wasn't all Tenchi's doing, but it's an ensemble movie. It would be weird if one person took over. The final fight with Kane is probably the biggest hero moment Tenchi has ever gotten. More so than the time he had to solo Kagato. I feel like the animation in this one sells it a lot better. The animation quality is definitely a step up from what it was in Universe. Universe had a great animation quality, don't get me wrong, great color palette, great character designs, but the fatal flaw of that show is that it's stuck in standard definition. I can even see frame damage at the beginning of every frame. Like, humanity has doomed itself for not preserving this work of art. Come on, guys, get it together. In Love, and all the other movies now that I'm talking about it, don't have this problem. We got these suckers in HD 1080p. This is probably the best looking Tenchi thing we've gotten. Being a movie with a movie budget will definitely help you with that. This is kind of a double-edged sword though. Because of the higher animation quality, the animation goes sicko mode sometimes and it can be pretty jarring. Like this dolly zoom on Kiyone or whatever the hell is happening with Mihoshi here. There's also an instance of strangely fluid animation when Ryoko is fighting this red herring guy. It never does that again, and it feels like I'm watching Ghost in the Shell or something. Oh yeah, since I'm talking about this red herring guy, fuck this red herring guy. This guy shows up throughout the movie and he's meant to be dark and mysterious, and we're led to believe this is Kane in disguise. No, it's actually some random Galaxy Police Inspector who, for some reason, has no idea why Tenchi and the gang are back in time. This show takes place after Universe. Tenchi being descended from Jiraiyan blood is public knowledge. Why does this guy act like Tenchi and the rest of the bad guys? The Galaxy Police guy actually gets a surprisingly brutal death in the finale, and they linger on the gore too. which is really out of character. There is some blood in the Tenchi franchise, but never like this. Jesus. Something that's also crazy, but something I'm totally on board with, was the choice to have the emotional core be Tenchi's mom. Tenchi's mom was one of the many things that was changed going from the OVA to Universe. In this continuity, she has an entire different background and lore. She doesn't really show up at all in Universe, save for one episode, No Need for Memories. The episode initially presents itself as a fun one-off of what the gang gets up to during a snowy day, but over the course of the episode, we learn what this day means for Tenchi and his family, and we learn that Tenchi received the news of his mother's death on a snowy day. While this is the only episode where Achika gets the big main spotlight, it's a good episode and it does a good job at showing you how much she meant to Tenchi and his family. So, sure, her being the focus of a movie makes perfect sense. Tenchi and the gang spend the movie trying to make sure that Kane doesn't come out of nowhere and snipe Tenchi's mom. But I'll be honest with you guys, there isn't that much suspense and tension in this movie. Kane is a constant presence. They keep talking about, oh, he could be anywhere, he could strike at any moment. And there's also that time paradox scoliosis that's going on with Tenchi and Achika. And there is the red herring guy. I already talked about you. But the movie is way more concerned with setting up the relationship between Achika and Tenchi's dad, Nobuyuki. I said this earlier when talking about Universe as a whole, but this franchise is just as much about the story as it is about the characters. And this is a great relationship. These two are adorable to watch. It's really fun seeing them grow closer together, which makes the inevitable ending even sadder.
You sure have excellent taste, Achika.
Really? Do you think so?
Yeah.
Listen, Nobuyuki, if you ever manage to build this house, promise that you'll invite me to come and see it.
Huh?
Come on, what's the matter now?
The matter? Nothing at all.
It almost makes you forget how Tenchi's dad is portrayed in the other parts of the franchise.
What do you think you're doing?
Hey, all I'm saying is closeness in a family is a good thing, and so is a good bath.
What the heck are you thinking?
Let go of my shirt.
I'm not letting go.
Come on, whose side are you on?
Those girls are inside there, don't you understand?
That's exactly why I'm peeping.
I knew it. You just want to peep, don't you?
It is a little odd that adult Nobuyuki isn't in the movie that much. They do have a cutaway to him in the middle of the movie, and he shows up in the epilogue too. I know a lot of you guys are probably saying, shut the hell up, my friend Cameron. Nobuyuki is one of the main characters as a teenager. He's in the movie. And yeah, that's true. I just think it would have been really cool to have him have just a little bit more setup in the beginning. But while Nobuyuki kind of got shafted in the setup just a little bit, realistically, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm glad they decided to set up Achika a bit more because she only had that one episode in Universe, so she needed the setup more than Nobuyuki did. The setup Achika has is, very simple, but I think it works well. It's a scene where all the girls are watching home movies of Tenchi's parents. This little line Sasami has really sells it for me. Again, it's simple, but it sells you on the idea that all the girls already accept Achika as part of the cast.
She looks very gentle.
She was.
Achika and Nobuyuki actually become the main characters sometimes, with the Universe cast taking a back seat, which, like I said, that's fine. This is their movie. This is their story. Nobuyuki and Achika are the emotional core of the story, and they're probably the greatest addition this franchise ever got. The movie ends on a really sweet note. We do get some final shenanigans in the present with the Universe cast, but at the very end, we cut back to what Achika and Nobuyuki are up to.
Time is short, but Nobuyuki and I will live our lives to the fullest, I swear. That's all that really matters.
This may be a really high bar for all these movies to sit upon, but I think In Love is the best Tenchi movie we'll be talking about. While the other two movies are definitely worth watching, In Love 1 has everything that I want in a Tenchi product. It has all the girls sharing equal screen time, everyone's involved, Tenchi, while taking a back seat, remains relevant, great sci-fi hijinks, lots of comedy, and great music. And that's not taking into consideration this movie looks fucking delicious, like a 5-course meal, and the music is great too. Did you guys know Chris Franke of fucking Tangerine Dream did the music for this movie? While I went through the special features on my DVD, one of the only bonuses was a little featurette with Chris Franke about how he made the music. And when I watched it, I didn't know who that was. So I was like, okay, cool. They interviewed the composer. There goes my credibility. I should mention, before we move on, the dub for this movie is perfect. Yeah, I only watched Tenchi dubbed. What of it? This movie, along with the first 2 OVAs and Tenchi Universe, have, in my opinion, one of the greatest dubs ever produced for an anime. Every character is matched with a perfect voice actor, and they all do a great job. Which is crazy to think, because you gotta remember, this was the first Tenchi thing they ever did in America. They were able to knock it out on the first try.
What you doing, Ayaka? Having a dirt sandwich? Come and get me if you dare.
Oh, she really gets on my nerves.
That's fine.
If I had to recommend a Tenchi fan just to watch one of these movies, it would be this one. In Love 1 sets up a ridiculously high bar for this trilogy. So you wonder what the other 2 are like. When I first started planning this video, I actually had never seen Daughter of Darkness yet. It was mostly down to word of mouth. There are lots of varying opinions on this movie. Opinions ranging from, this movie's a shitload of fuck, and also, it's pretty good. The general consensus nowadays is that it's alright. It's not good as the other 2 movies, but it's good on its own. That's nice. But what do I think of the movie? Well, this is a movie I think about a lot, for a lot of different reasons. Mostly for one scene, but we'll get to that. Something that always sticks out to me is how short this thing is. Daughter of Darkness is only 59 minutes, barely even an hour. But that's because it was meant to be a double bill with the movie Slayer's Grade, also 59 minutes. Yeah, well, shit. Well, I guess I better watch this to get the full experience.
Man, I love Tenchi Muyo.
The shakeup for the cast and crew in this movie also creeps me the hell out. For starters, they didn't get the guy who directed the first movie back. Hiroshi Negishi not only directed In Love 1, but he was also the series director for Universe. Another addition to this movie is the screenwriter, Naoko Hasegawa. Hasegawa actually worked on the first OVA, but was quickly put to work on writing the light novels. She gets a pass from me because she created Kiyone. The English dub talent also saw some shakeups. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first Tenchi thing that saw major shakeups with the core English cast. The original voice actors for Kiyone, Mihoshi, Nobuyuki, and Katsuhito are gone, while everyone else remained the same. I should say, however, that I don't hate this new cast. Everyone does a pretty good job, Katsuhito in movie 3 especially, and if you aren't chest deep into stuff like I am, you probably wouldn't even notice they changed the voice actors, but I still prefer the originals, in my opinion at least.
Good friendships between 2 women are a beautiful thing indeed.
It seems like you've been taking very good care of Mihoshi here.
That's right. Everyone here is so nice.
We both decided to let the girl stay here for a while, at least until we find out who her parents are. Say, why are you so happy about that?
I don't know. I just like having her here, even though she is a bit strange.
Ah, that's true.
Jesus Christ, we already have all this to talk about, and we haven't even started the movie yet. How about we all just relax and start this puppy up? Let's all enjoy 1997's Tenchi Muyo, The Daughter of Darkness. Not even a minute into this movie and we're getting child abuse. This movie doesn't fuck around at the start. we are immediately thrown onto Jirai with a young Yosho. There's some star festival going on. There's a goblin girl causing a ruckus, and she's getting the shit kicked out of her. And then the movie has the audacity to cut to this.
Coming through, Grandfather.
Look at that. You made a stupendous cake, Sasami.
This movie might have a problem with tone. This is all in the first 2 minutes, by the way. I truly feel bad for any Slayers fans who might have had to sit through this to get to the movie they actually cared about. And I thought In Love 1 wasn't beginner friendly. On here, they're throwing you onto Jirai. They have guardians, Jiraiyan princes, all of this in the first 2 minutes. So there's this goblin girl, Yuzuha. She sees Katsuhito and recognizes him. So she makes an organic life form using her DNA and Tenchi's DNA while they celebrate Christmas. Oh yeah, this movie technically takes place during Christmas. This movie starts and ends on Christmas, and apparently a lot of anime fans turn to this one as a yearly tradition. So now it's time to answer the age-old question I'm betting all of you have. Is Tenchi Muyo, Daughter of Darkness, a Christmas movie? I don't give a shit what you watch for Christmas. I watched the Matrix trilogy one year. Watch whatever the hell you want to get into the spirit. The story of Daughter of Darkness kicks off proper when Tenchi discovers a strange girl while he's out doing chores. This is Mayuka, the big addition to this movie, and she might be the scariest villain-adjacent character. Not because she's related to Yuzuha, but because she's always making me look over my shoulder while I watch this movie.
Don't make such a big deal about it. She followed me here. That's all there is to it. Right?
Daddy? She calls you Daddy? What does she mean by that?
Yeah, this movie's gonna be a little rough. This is probably the biggest thing this movie is known for within the Tenchi fandom. The fact that every other word out of Mayuka's mouth is Daddy.
Daddy? Daddy? Daddy, 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 wait for me, Daddy,
But I assure you, something else happens in the other 50% of this movie. The rest of the runtime is spent trying to figure out where the heck Mayuka came from, and how her sudden affection upsets the power dynamic between Ayeka, Ryoko, and Tenchi. Tenchi spends most of the movie trying not to get his house swatted by Mayuka, while Ryoko lets her emotions fly. I love how intense Tenchi's VO gets in this scene. It's like Matt Miller was about to witness an actual murder in the recording booth. One of Ryoko's outbursts leads to the scene that made me put off this movie for a long time. I know it may seem a little early in the discussion to talk about this scene, but I've been waiting to talk about this for months. I need to get this off my chest now. While Tenchi and Mayuka are out on a walk, Yuzuha winter soldiers her, which leads to this. Ryoko understandably thinks something is off. So she does this.
Where were you taking Tenchi?
I don't know what you're talking about. We were going for a walk.
Now you're going for a drop instead.
You wouldn't dare.
Don't worry, Mayuka. I'll say goodbye to your daddy for ya.
But she's alright, don't worry about it. Mayuka gets back to the house and starts a fight with Ryoko. And when Tenchi intervenes, he does this.
Came here to destroy you. I'm trying to protect you since you're so clueless when it comes to women. Tenchi!
Stop it!
What's going on in those Hasegawa books? God damn. This is so out of character for Tenchi. He would never slap any of the girls under any circumstance. When I first discovered Daughter of Darkness years ago, I was clicking around randomly just to see what the hell this movie was, and I inadvertently stumbled across this scene out of context. It bothered me then, and it bothers me now. Now that I have the proper context, yeah, it kind of was scummy for Ryoko to do that, especially since Mayuka doesn't really have any idea what's going on with the goblin girl Yuzu. But Mayuka already slapped Ryoko, so Tenchi joining in for a second was not needed. Tenchi is a guy who's always trying to de-escalate the wacky shit going on in his life, but he would never resort to such means, especially with Ryoko. If only there was a similar moment in a different Tenchi-related thing to show how he would have reacted. Oh hey look, it's Tenchi in Tokyo, episode 8, Tenchi Reunion.
The next one's gonna be for you unless you start talking, you little thief! Ah! Take this!
Stop it!
No, Tenchi! Tenchi?
Stop this, Ryoko.
Get out of my way! I know she stole them! Ugh.
Sakuya would never steal anything.
Oh, is that right?
What's crazy about the slap scene is that nobody acknowledges it. No one has a moment and goes, hey damn, Tenchi's never done this before. No one talks about it. And yeah, Tenchi does apologize to Ryoko, but they just go back to talking about Mayuka again. The cramped runtime really doesn't allow the story to breathe at all, for the plot details and the character moments. At the climax of the movie, the Goblin Girl Yuzu reveals that she actually fell in love with Katsuhito at the beginning of the movie. But this is only said once, and this is how they show it to us.
Here, may we meet again someday.
You and grandfather.
Imagine the darkness in love with the light.
There is so much going on in this scene, I'm getting whiplash. And this is how Katsuhito reacts to all that information.
It was Yuzuha's. You knew her, right? I think she was in, well...
We were very young, and it was long ago.
Bitch, you just caused an entire movie's worth of drama. Why is that your only reaction? The pace is constantly moving. New shit is happening constantly. And if you aren't paying attention, you're gonna miss a lot. This movie expects you to be on board at the start and give it its full undivided attention all the way to the end. It may sound like I absolutely hate this movie, but I really don't. People who know me know that I love cracked out train wrecks. I made a video about how Die Another Day was one of my favorite James Bond movies, and that movie sucks. But the fact that this movie is at a constant 10 and never stops makes for a strangely engaging viewing experience. And that isn't to say there isn't some genuinely good stuff going on here. One small bit I really like is how, for most of the movie, they pair up Mayuka and Sasami, and it's really fun watching them grow close together. The Tenchi franchise often struggles with giving something for Sasami to do when she isn't headlining her own series like Pretty Sammy, so to have her part of the emotional core of this movie, it's actually pretty cool. While I said this movie kind of squashes any attempt of character moments, doesn't mean there aren't any. There is an absolutely great scene where Ayeka and Ryoko come together to talk about all the crazy stuff that's been happening and how it makes them feel about their relationship to Tenchi.
I thought I was mature enough to handle something like this. I always thought if ever Tenchi fell in love with someone else, I'd just go back home, back to my planet and my palace. And I'd never say a word about it. Isn't it strange that I'm telling you all this, Ryoko?
Don't be foolish, Ayeka. You think too much. Tenchi would never break your heart, Ayeka. And Sasami'd laugh if she saw you now.
Ryoko, honestly?
Don't get all weepy now. I hate that. I refuse to be a timid little maiden. I want to have fun, Ayeka. You know, they all love you so much, they'll send a search party for you pretty soon.
Sasami!
See? Did I call it or what?
Yeah!
This movie may have done Tenchi dirty, but the way they handle Ryoko and Ayeka are spot on. This is also the reason I always watch Tenchi with the dub. Jennifer Darling and Patria Burchard, who voice Ayeka and Ryoko respectively, give it their all in this scene, along with everything they've done in this franchise. I don't know what they're up to now, but I hope they're kicking ass somewhere. The animation quality continues to be amazing. They didn't skip out on it just because it's a double feature. Most of the movie takes place during the summer, and with the color palette and designs, yeah, you can certainly tell, it looks great. And you know what? I'll say it, I don't fully hate Mayuka. She is the reason I have to make sure my door is locked whenever I watch this, but she could be worse. Alright, On one hand, I like how innocent she's portrayed, and how all she wants is a family. That's what Tenchi's about, it's family. But on the other hand, I most certainly didn't like the villain, the goblin girl Yuzuha. She spends almost the entire movie peering in from the sidelines and occasionally messes with Mayuka, but other than that, she doesn't really do much. I know I somewhat gave Kane a bit of a pass in his movie because, he doesn't really show up that much either, but at the end of the day, he was tied to a really good emotional core. Yuzuha, she is tied to emotional core as well, but that emotional core makes me uncomfortable. One weird thing about Mayuka is that our Japanese voice actor also plays Mima in the movie Perfect Blue, and that's my second favorite movie of all time, so yeah, weird connection, I know. The other girls kind of get shafted in this one. The movie is very much only concerned with Ayeka, Ryoko, Tenchi, and Mayuka, so a lot of the other girls are kind of relegated to being observers. Which, kind of sucks, but at least we get to see them all hanging out. Makes them feel like one big all happy family. But at least Tenchi gets to do a lot more in this movie. Yeah, most of his scenes are him reacting realistically to Mayuka's dialogue, but he actually gets to play a pretty big... But at least Tenchi gets to do a little bit more in this movie. Yeah, most of the scenes are kind of just him reacting realistically to Mayuka's dialogue, but he actually gets one pretty cute scene with Ryoko, and gets to play a huge part in the final fight.
Lord Tenchi! Behold! This branch is from the Tree of Light, and light will always prevail!
Oh, it's the Lighthawk sword!
Your puny little sword makes me laugh! Your game's over!
Now that I talk about all the stuff I like and don't like, I don't know how I fully feel about Daughter of Darkness. Oh, it's bad, no doubt. The pacing is crazy. Tenchi does the unthinkable, and the plot is so slapdashed. And the ending, too. Oh my god, I didn't talk about the ending yet. I need to talk about the ending to this movie. It sends me to tears every goddamn time I watch this thing. In the final battle with Yuzuha, Mayuka dies and leaves behind a life crystal. After the final battle is done and dusted, Washu takes the life crystal and makes Mayuka into a fucking test tube baby. You can't make this shit up. I know I said I was forgiving about Washu making time travel, but this is fucking organic life. I feel like I can freak out a little about this. And this also raises a lot of questions. The way they talk about this, they act like they're bringing the Mayuka we know back. Is it the same Mayuka? Will she have the same memories? Is this technically still Tenchi's daughter? But despite this, along with everything else, I may have developed a form of Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah, the movie is bad, but it's got a lot of what I want from Tenchi in an express package. It's got some fun character moments, lots of sci-fi hijinks, and it's fun to watch. And the fact that we get all this cracked out shit on top of it makes Daughter of Darkness a movie I never get bored watching. I'm totally fine with just throwing this movie on the background, or just wanting to watch something that's a little bit souped up with Tenchi in it. While Daughter of Darkness may throw a lot of people off, it moves at a pretty fast pace, so at least you're never bored. I'd say watch it at least once, and hey, if you don't like it, you only wasted an hour of your life. It's not that bad. But if you end up hating it, I will 100% agree with you, and I won't argue. That's cool. Now, who's ready to wrap this all up with something completely different? Tenchi Muyo in Love 2, Distant Memories from 1999 is not only our final movie we'll be talking about, but also the final entry in the universe timeline. To director Hiroshi Negishi it is. Oh hey, they got him back. In an interview Hiroshi did with Animerica, rest in peace, he talks about how In Love 1 and 2 are meant to be the final entries in the universe chapter, which is really funny because he doesn't even talk about Daughter of Darkness, which is, it's fair, he didn't even work on that one. But for the most part, this was the end of the Tenchi franchise. Until OVA 3 came out in 2003, but that's when the franchise was falling off, so Tenchi Muyo in Love 2 is the final entry in the Tenchi franchise. But the idea that In Love 2 was meant to be the final entry of Tenchi in general is the reason why it's called Tenchi Forever here in the States, which is what I'll be calling it from now on. In that same Animerica interview, Hiroshi talks about how the original Tenchi fans and the people who worked on it were getting older, so he wanted this movie to be more mature and completely different. And that can instantly be seen in this movie's opening.
Are you all right? I will always be with you.
This is the opening to a real Tenchi movie. To refresh your memory, this is how the last movie opened. The movie properly starts on a classic Tenchi setup. Ayeka and Ryoko are bickering, which leads them to harass Tenchi into proclaiming his love for one of the two. Tenchi isn't about that life, so he runs into the mountains, but disappears into a camellia tree. Tenchi disappears for 6 months, and all life drains from the movie. Like, look at it. Look at the color palette. It's drained. All the girls have split up to help look for Tenchi. Sasami goes back to Jirai. Kiyomi and Miyoshi go to the Galaxy Science Center to look for universe anomalies. Washu stays to monitor anomalies, while Ayeka and Ryoko search across the whole of Japan in hopes of spotting Tenchi. But when they settle down in Tokyo, they start to catch glimpses of an older Tenchi with a mysterious woman. But when the girls catch up to him, he always manages to slip away and he can't hear them calling out to him. Why can't Tenchi hear the girls? Why is he older? Who is this mysterious woman he's shacking up with? All these questions and more add up to a Tenchi movie that is unlike anything we've seen before. One thing that I love about this movie is that it pretty much lays out all of its cards in the early scenes. In the opening, we see that this woman had a past with Yosho, a romantic one that was cut short. Tenchi also disappears in the first 6 minutes, and Washu just casually drops how he could be in an alternate dimension, which is, that's right, that's what happened to him. I love how this movie plays its hand early. We get the big main draws with the woman from Yosho's past and Tenchi being an alternate universe. So that means the rest of the movie is figuring out the finer details and seeing how it affects our characters. And since the movie is being upfront, I think it's only fair if I do the same. Out of all the movies I've had to talk about, all the Ultra Qs, all the James Bonds, all the Kick-Assias, this is the hardest movie I've ever had to review. Out of all the segments for this video, this is the one that I spent the most time writing. I took a bunch of months off writing this just so I can get my feelings on this movie straight. And while I will get into why this movie means so much to me personally, I have to talk about the other reasons why this movie is so hard to review. Tenchi Forever is such an enigma because it pretty much defies what it means to be a Tenchi product. The last two movies did have their own spin on the Tenchi formula, I won't deny that. In Love 1 had this great emotional core of Tenchi's parents, and Daughter of Darkness shortened my lifespan by 5 years. But all of that still slipped comfortably into being part of the Tenchi franchise. Plenty of lighthearted comedy, lots of love triangle bickering, the usual stuff you would see in Universe or the OVA. But Tenchi Forever is drastically different, in a good way. The energy and pacing is definitely dialed back from the previous two movies. In Love had the ticking clock of the main villain showing up, and Daughter of Darkness had the rabid pace of a 59-minute almost movie. A lot of the runtime in Tenchi Forever is spent just hanging out with Ryoko and Ayeka as they do their jobs or wander Tokyo hoping for just a glimpse of Tenchi. And when we see what Tenchi's up to, it's mostly him just hanging out with that mystery woman. There is an urgency and an objective to this movie, find Tenchi and get the fuck out of Dodge, but the movie moves at a, dare I say, contemplative pace. The music certainly reflects this tone. Lots of subdued tracks with strings and winds, and the accordion, we'll get to that. Listen to this track, this sounds like it belongs in a Studio Ghibli movie, not Tenchi. The animation is certainly an inspired departure. All of the characters have gone through slightly different redesigns. They have some sharper edges and they look a little bit older, along with, them having different outfits like the previous two movies. The quality of the animation fluidness has also taken a step back from what we saw in Love 1, and the bright tones and colors from Daughter of Darkness have also gone away. But that's kind of the point. This is meant to be a depressing and definitely not a fun chapter of these characters' lives. So everything being fluid and big and bright would not match with what this movie's going for. The movie takes a really hazy, washed out palette, which really fits with the dreamy and weary atmosphere the movie sets up. And that isn't to say the movie abandons color, it just waits to use it at opportune moments. Like this scene in Tenchi's art studio. I love the way the blue of Ryoko's hair punches through all the brown tones. Something you may have noticed is that there aren't that many scenes of all the girls together, if they aren't Ayeka and Ryoko. While the other girls are in the movie and are actively doing stuff, they are not the focus. Ayeka and Ryoko are. And it is important to know these girls are out doing stuff. They aren't just here for fan service. Some of them, like Washu, get massive plot details revealed to them, and if they weren't all doing stuff, the day wouldn't be saved. So it still feels like they're sharing the load like they did in Love 1. I also love how, like in Love 1, all the girls stop what they're doing to save Tenchi. While you could argue the stakes were a lot more dramatic in Love 1, seeing all the girls stop what they're doing and keep up the search for 6 months with no hope in sight really shows how much they care for this goober Tenchi. The way Tenchi Forever displays its urgency is how it pushes the character psychologically. They're going through this whole 6-month search with almost no leads, but they keep on doing it anyway. And we have to remember, this is the universe timeline. The timeline where none of the girls have the hots for Tenchi. They're doing this shit for the love of the game at this point. I love this little scene Kiyone gets when she's breaking into the Space Science Academy. It really shows how far she's willing to go for Tenchi.
These dimension stabilizers are absolutely off limits. If I get caught hacking in here, I'll be behind bars forever.
She has no obligation to do this for Tenchi or anyone else. None of the girls do. But they're all doing stunts like this because nothing is stronger than family. I will quickly say, however, all of my unfavorable elements from this movie come from the other characters, mainly Mihoshi. While I said this movie puts the comedy on the back seat, it doesn't mean the seat is that far back. The movie gives its usual Tenchi brand humor to Mihoshi and sometimes Washu. I can somewhat excuse Washu because 90% of the time she's off in her own little world and she can do whatever she wants. But it is kind of jarring when we cut back to Mihoshi and she's doing the whole Tenchi comedy shtick. It's really jarring.
Isn't Washu amazing? Huh? A fake Science Academy ID card! Who would ever know it was phony?
Mihoshi, quiet! Shh.
What? Did you say something, Cutie?
Oh, you are hopeless!
If this were any other Tenchi show or even the previous 2 movies, I wouldn't care that much. But because it's happening in this movie, a movie that's super serious 90% of the time, it gives you whiplash. It doesn't happen that much, but it stings like a bitch. And I know I said I didn't mind the new voice actors, but Jesus Christ, Mihoshi is so annoying in this. I don't know if this was the actress's choice or the audio director, but her voice is so high-pitched it drives me crazy. Anyway, like I said earlier, the main focus is mostly with Ayeka and Ryoko, so this whiplash doesn't really happen that much. With the other girls taking a back seat, we almost spend about 50% of this movie with Ayeka and Ryoko, and the way this movie handles their relationship is very interesting. You know all those moments in Universe where Ryoko and Ayeka fight?
And you? How dare you flirt with Tenchi like this, huh?
Flirt? Are you addressing me? Where did you get that idea?
Uh-huh, so you're telling me you weren't flirting.
Well, of course not. I was certainly not flirting. Gutter brain.
Oh, you lie.
What do you mean by that? I'm not going to let that one pass.
Okay, enough you two.
That really happens only twice, 3 times tops in Tenchi Forever.
face it, I'm the one he really likes. You're just in the way.
You're the reason that he left!
Yeah? It's been a while since we fought like this.
Yes, it has.
Ryoko and Ayeka are one of the big main duos of this movie. So if they aren't bickering, what are they doing? Remember when I brought up that great little scene Ayeka and Ryoko had in Daughter of Darkness? Imagine that, but it's almost the entire movie. It's genius. This is what I mean when I say this movie is hard to review, because having all these quiet character moments and moments of self-reflection is not what the franchise is about most of the time, and having them back to back is crazy. Almost all the scenes with Ayeka and Ryoko are them talking about how this whole Tenchi surge has affected them, and holy fuck, it's hard to watch sometimes. Yay, Tenchi Muyo! You know, the fun sci-fi comedy romp. That little scene from Daughter of Darkness shows that the dynamic of these two characters leveling with each other was very compelling, and now that we have more than 50 minutes, we can explore a lot more of that. There's a scene very similar to the one we got in Daughter of Darkness, where Ayeka talks about what if Tenchi finds someone else to love. And this scene hits a lot more when we have the whole movie building up to this, and we have room for it to breathe.
Are you awake?
No.
Who is that girl we saw? She looks so content, you know. Laughing and smiling. I've never seen anyone so radiant with joy.
Who? That girl?
No, I mean Lord Tenchi. It seemed like he'd forgotten about us, like we didn't exist.
This scene comes after Ryoko and Ayeka catch another glimpse of Tenchi with the mystery woman, and it's treated like a real-ass moment between these characters. All of their emotions are laid bare. The back and forth between them is perfection, and like all the best moments in Tenchi, it shows immense character.
Things change, Ayeka. He may not want us to find him. Have you thought about that? Well, don't torture yourself. You'll get all worn out. It's bad for the complexion.
Ryoko, you're so strong.
Go to sleep.
Something that I love about all these scenes is that, for the most part, all of the emotions are just laid out bare. No theatrics, straight from the heart. Which again, is in extreme contrast to the rest of the series, which loves to indulge in smolts and sappiness from time to time. Especially that scene in Daughter of Darkness. But that isn't to say this movie doesn't indulge in smolts every now and then.
Tenchi, you big fathead! Where the hell are you?
That's right! How could you leave a wonderful princess like me? I'm here waiting for you!
Forget about her, just come back to me!
And I just want to say this for the record, I love schmaltz, okay? One of my favorite directors is John Woo, and he's the schmaltz maestro. Have you seen A Better Tomorrow 2? I didn't think so.
Fuck you!
I'm just happy and impressed that the movie's embracing different types of emotion and presentation. And like the director Hiroshi Negishi intended, it feels more mature. I will once again heap praise upon the English voice actors for Ryoko and Ayeka, Patria Burchard and Jennifer Darling. They have to do a lot of difficult deliveries and juggle so much character stuff, but because they are so badass, whenever I hear their dialogue, I don't hear translated dialogue. I just hear Ayeka and Ryoko having a moment together. While I could go on and on about Ryoko and Ayeka, I did say they were only one half of the big emotional core. The other half is our dearly beloved Tenchi, along with our mystery woman. Tenchi gets spirited away into a camellia tree into the alternate dimension by the big addition to this movie, Haruna. The movie does not hide who Haruna is. The movie starts with her and Yosho/Katsuhito, so we know that they had a relationship, a romantic one, that was cut short. With these context clues and doing our best Columbo impression, we can deduce that Haruna wants to substitute Yosho for a much younger Tenchi. So Haruna kidnaps Tenchi into an alternate world where she has complete control and wipes away his memory. Like the rest of this movie, Haruna is such a strange addition to the franchise. For the past 2 movies and universe, our villains have been general archetypes. Kagato was your regular old Mr. Bad, Kane was this big ball of evil, and Yuzuha put me on a government watch list. So the survey would say that Haruna would follow this clear-cut trend of bad guys. But if you believe that, have you been paying attention to how different this movie is? The stuff Haruna is doing is bad, no doubt. You can't just kidnap a guy as a rebound to your old love. But she's presented as being sympathetic and not entirely villain-coded. Like, look how she's introduced in the parallel world. We see her from Tenchi's point of view making frickin' breakfast. This is the main villain of the movie. And even the way she coaxes Tenchi into the tree is soft and unassuming.
Tenchi. Come here.
While the bond she shares for Tenchi is forced and selfish, you can't help but feel bad for her, especially when you learn her backstory. In a great scene with Katsuhito, he tells about how he and Haruna fell in love on Jirai, but they couldn't be together because she wasn't royalty like he was. So they fled to Earth, but Haruna couldn't take the journey and died only moments before landing.
Do you love me even now?
More than ever.
And will you love me forever throughout all time?
You know I will.
Yes, our hearts will be together forever.
I'll always be with you, right by your side.
Then I'm content. Just think what our lives would have been like on that shimmering planet, time slipping away as one sweet day flowed into another.
It will be like that, my love. Just hang on a little longer. You can do it. We'll live together, you and I, forever, in a world of our own, and we'll be so happy.
That really fucking sucks. Haruna didn't deserve to die as early as she did. Kinda reminds me of Nobuyuki and Nachika from In Love 1. Katsuhito is once again the progenitor of all the bad things that happen in this movie, but instead of pushing it off and barely acknowledging it, he actually spends a lot of time stewing on what's happening. It's actually pretty sad to watch. He spends the whole movie trying to come to terms that the woman he loved would do this to him and his family. Over time, Katsuhito would find love again with his wife Itsuki, who would later birth Achika, who would in turn birth Tenchi. Katsuhito speculates that Haruna took Tenchi as a form of revenge and hopes to have a life that she was unjustly robbed of. And all that love, a love for a better life, a love for Tenchi, it's all real to Haruna. While Haruna is definitely our main villain, she isn't villain-coded as the rest of the bad guys in the series. While her goal is similar to the last 2 movie villains, revenge, all she wants is just a peaceful life to love someone and someone to love her. And that someone is Tenchi. And yes, all this is bad and selfish, but whenever we see Tenchi, it feels real. It's a role we never really see Tenchi take that much. He's an actual romantic partner in this. In the other movies and shows, he's not really interested in romance and being a partner, so to see how he handles this dynamic is interesting. And I better not see any of you in the comments going, oh, Tenchi starts dating and gets married at OVA 500, episode 30. And I don't care, okay? Everything past Tenchi Forever doesn't exist to me. Tenchi is still Tenchi in this. And for the whole movie, him and Haruna are acting out a marriage drama. There are scenes of them having breakfast together. Tenchi is an artist in this one, so he draws Haruna a lot. And there's this really adorable scene of them walking home together after school.
I thought that you had already gone home or something.
And your job?
Oh, I just thought I'd take the afternoon off.
I see. Playing hooky, are we?
I brought this.
No thanks. I'll just walk under your umbrella.
This may sound boring to some, But it's awesome that we get to see Tenchi be so happy and content. But we know the setup, so it's really bittersweet. And the movie doesn't forget either. Throughout the course of the film, Tenchi gets flashbacks to his past life and begins drawing Ryoko, a cruel reminder of the setup that we have to get back to, and something we know will be an obstacle to Haruna later on. Like I said, the love here feels real. You want the circumstances to be different because you just want to see Haruna and Tenchi be happy. And that leads me to talk about... Well, you guys are going to have to give me a minute. When I first watched this movie, I didn't expect the love scenes to go this hard. Pun intended. With all the elements this movie's throwing at us, the emotions, the characters, the situation, it makes these love moments hit just as hard as any of the epic sci-fi battles. When Haruna says this to Tenchi,
Tenchi, do you love me? Do you?
I love you.
Will you love me forever and ever?
Yeah.
Will you stay with me forever and ever?
Uh-huh.
I fucking believe that all she wants is a happy life for the both of them. Debbie Derryberry voices Haruna in the English dub, and she delivers what is, in my opinion, one of the greatest voice acting deliveries in any animated movie. She also voices Jimmy Neutron. That has nothing to do with Tenchi. I just freaking love Jimmy Neutron. It's one of my favorite shows. But the love scenes are incredible. Lots of soft scenes of hands interlocking and fingers running across skin, all set to an amazing accordion.
Do you love me?
You know the answer.
I need to hear you say it.
Everyone has their thing. Mine just happens to be accordions. But no, seriously. And I know I'm going to sound like a broken record when I say this, but the way that love and intimacy is portrayed is so different to how it is in the previous Tenchi entries. The most heartfelt moment that I can remember from the previous series, barring the movies, is when Ryoko pleads with Tenchi to not fight Kagoto. And in the OVA, they were allowed to talk about sex a lot more openly because it was a direct-to-video affair, but the less said about that, the better. All of this emotion, the love, the stakes come together for an amazing finale. Washu is able to stabilize entry into this parallel world, but when Ryoko and Ayeka get in there, Tenchi doesn't recognize them and sends them away, and holy fuck is that hard to watch.
That's enough! Ryoko, Ayeka, stay back and leave her alone.
Why are you defending her, Lord Tenchi?
We came here for you, Tenchi.
You don't understand how she feels right now, but I do.
Tenchi.
You mean that you want to stay here with her? It's vanishing again!
No, we don't want you to go, please!
It's only through Katsuhito's intervention by cutting into Haruna's tree that Tenchi can break the mental block and confront Haruna himself. But it still isn't enough, so the only person who can truly stop Haruna shows up.
Haruna, do you recognize me?
Yes, of course. Only a few moments ago I saw you in my dream.
No. You have it backwards. That was not a dream at all. It was a memory of our past. The real past where an extraordinary girl died because of me.
It wasn't your fault, Yosho. You tried. I just couldn't make the journey.
You will return Tenchi, my grandson, to me, won't you, Haruna?
so sorry, Tenchi. See, you're not the only one who forgot about his own world. I forgot about mine as well. I had dreamed of living with the man I loved, and that dream came to life. I didn't mean to hurt you, I swear.
I know, I wish I could have helped you more by understanding what you had gone through.
You did help. She remembers who she is now, and she's recovered her spirit. That was your doing. Thank you, Tenchi.
And at the very end, we get confirmation that all this love was indeed real.
Tenchi, remember this? I'll always treasure it.
I want you to know, I'll never forget you, Haruna.
Yes, you will. You must. Let the memory fade away till there's nothing left but a warm feeling in your heart.
Haruna, wait, please!
Let go. It's time.
After Haruna and Yosho leave, Ryoko makes her way back into the parallel world so Tenchi can finally leave. And while it's a bittersweet ending, I'm glad we finally got to this point. Life quickly gets back to normal for Tenchi and his family, but at the very end, the movie has time for one more emotional moment.
So then, I see you've taken up drawing.
Yeah. I was thinking how my father used to draw when he was my age, but then he stopped doing it, you know? I like the way it makes me feel.
Gotcha. And how do you feel?
Like I'm remembering something I forgot long ago, something important. When I draw, I feel things I lost touch with but are still there inside my heart.
Tenchi.
This is why I refuse to acknowledge any further entries in this franchise. This movie was the perfect way to end the run. So yeah, Tenchi Muyo in Love 2 Distant Memories / Tenchi Forever, it's a bit of a weirdo. How can something so far removed from the structure and tone of the franchise be so almost perfect? There's a sentiment I think about sometimes. I don't know if people have applied it to this movie, so I'm not going to claim that here. But sometimes I think when something in a franchise is so drastically different, maybe it would have been better if it was its own original idea. You know, movies like Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the Halloween movie that didn't have Michael Myers. That movie is great in its own right, but everyone agrees that this movie should have been its own thing so it wouldn't have to carry the baggage of the first two Michael Myers movies. So with that in mind, would Tenchi Forever have benefited from being an original idea? No. Tenchi Forever is a movie that takes whole advantage of being a late entry franchise piece. The fact that it has all these characters and the time spent with these characters to work off of, it makes it mean a whole lot more to a Tenchi fan. The latter part about character history and all the time we've spent with them means a lot to someone like me, alright? I spent almost 10 years with these goobers. I love them. And seeing them go through all these feelings, it gets my feelings going too. I really like when long-running franchises get to have an entry that's a little off-kilter. It really makes you look at things in a different context and makes you reevaluate why you love a franchise so much. And in this case, it's the characters. It's putting these characters that we spent so much time with into a different context. It makes us look at them in a different angle. It hits a lot more once with characters that we know as opposed to original characters. That's why this movie is so hard for me to review and why it means so much to me personally. I love these characters, and to see them act like real-ass people, their problems so genuine, it's amazing to watch. Like the director Hiroshi Negishi said, this movie was made for the mature fans, and they couldn't have given us a better movie. If any of you fellas are a longtime Tenchi fan, I implore you, if you haven't seen this movie, please seek it out. It is a movie made for us, made for you, and made for me. It is something that you all wholeheartedly will enjoy. Well, this was certainly a ride. I think about these three movies a lot. Yes, even Daughter of Darkness. When I got back into the Tenchi franchise in 2023, watching In Love 1 in the darkness of my bedroom, I knew this would be a franchise I would love forever. See what I did there? I managed to sneak in all the titles of the three movies. But no, all of these movies mean a lot to me, especially In Love 1 and Tenchi Forever. They're not only just good Tenchi movies, they're just good movies in general. Yeah, you'll probably enjoy them more if you are a Tenchi fan, but there's still so much to get out of these things. The animation, the music, the characters, the writing, everything is firing at all cylinders for these. While Daughter of Darkness is clearly the weakest link, it's not ungodly bad, it's still worth a watch at least once. It's bananas. It goes to show, even at its worst, this trilogy still has a lot of merit. Choosing between whether or not I love In Love 1 or Tenchi Forever more really comes down to how I'm feeling on a certain day. Both are still A+ movies in my opinion. In Love 1 is probably the better movie that takes all the characters and situations we know and ascends them to a movie budget and scope, while Tenchi Forever takes the characters to a whole new emotional levels. I guess what I'm trying to say is, In Love 1 is more of the mainstream darling, while Tenchi Forever is the art house masterpiece. But joke's on you, I'm waist deep into all of those scenes, so I like them both equally. This whole trilogy means the world to me. The whole franchise, despite its numerous misses, means the world to me. I will fight 50 Tenchi Muyos just for a chance to watch Tenchi Forever once. That's how much I love this franchise. Hopefully I've reinvigorated your love for the Tenchi franchise, and maybe I've convinced you to give these movies and the series a go again. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta clean the shit off my floor. Hello, it's me, Cameron. I just got done doing the initial edit for the feature-length Tenchi Muyo video. We have a different camera, a different audio setup, so it's going to sound a little different. But I just wanted to thank you, for the people who stuck around to the very end. Thank you so much for sticking through this till the end. This is a video that has been, God, like 3 years in the making. You know, I say in the video I got back into the show around 2023, and I know I didn't right away go, all right, time to make the Tenchi video. I stewed on it for a little bit, and then I watched another video from a YouTuber called Hazel, and they made their own video about Tenchi Universe, but they mostly focused on the show. They talked about the movies and the other stuff like the OVA and Tenchi in Tokyo, but they mostly focused on the show. And I was watching the movies, and I was like, oh my god, like, where have these movies been all my life? These movies are awesome. So I was like, well, damn, do I want to talk about these movies? Do I have anything to say? And at some point, I just went, fuck it, this show and franchise means so much to me. Let's just go. Let's just go for it. I started making the video, and, you know, I mentioned this in the In Love 2 segment. I took, like, a long time off of writing that whole portion, because I remember I had my fall semester, you know, a few months ago as of the time of this recording, which is what time is it? March? Yeah, it's March, and it's March 11th, and I came in the fall semester, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna finish writing In Love 2, and then I'm gonna film it. I did not film jack shit. I had to finish writing because In Love 2 is just such a complex movie. I had to get my feelings wrapped around it. So, I finished In Love 2, went on Christmas break, and then I came back for spring semester around, you know, January, and I just filmed the whole script in one day. I remember I started around 12 or 1, and then I ended around like 5. I spent the whole day just recording, you know, straight to the camera about Tenchi, and it was insane.
it took a lot out of me. I started out really chipper and happy. Oh yeah, talking about Tenchi. But once I got to In Love 2, that's when stuff started to get real, because that movie means a lot to me and it makes me feel so many emotions. And I was like, shoot, man, definitely the hardest thing I've ever had to review. Even just editing through In Love 2, oh my god, threw me for a loop. Like putting the music into it and having to isolate the clips from the movie. It meant that whole section meant a lot to me. This whole thing meant a lot to me. So please, like, tell me if you guys have like the same feelings I did with any of the movies. Did you agree with me? Do you think Daughter of Darkness is the greatest Tenchi thing ever? Do you think Tenchi Muyo Galaxy Police Transporter is the greatest thing ever? I don't think there's many Tenchi Muyo defenders, but you know, they might be out there somewhere scurrying under a little rock. But again, thank you so much for sticking with me. This is probably the biggest like undertaking video essay review I've ever had to do, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. You know, thanks for all the Tenchi fans who pulled up. Shout out to, you know, my movie night, TV night crew. I showed them Tenchi Universe for the first time for our little TV night, and they liked it. They said they were excited for the video, so you know, shout outs to them. But you know, shout outs to all the other Tenchi fans who pulled up for this. This one's for you guys, and it's for the Tenchi fans who have never watched the movies, because there are a couple of them out there. There's this podcast I listen to called We Got a Podcast, and one of the hosts, like 2 out of 3 of the hosts or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, you know, I like Tenchi and all that. One of them was like sort of new, rediscovering it, but one of the hosts was like, oh yeah, I watched Tenchi movie 1 for the first time, and I'm like, god damn, really? You've seen all this other stuff but haven't seen the movie? So there are Tenchi fans out there who haven't seen the movies, and I genuinely hope that, you know, everyone watches these movies. They're easy to find. They're uploaded on YouTube. The DVDs, like the Pioneer DVDs, not the Funimation DVDs. Some of the Funimation DVDs. It's easy to watch these movies, and I think you are missing out on this franchise if you're not watching these movies. So go watch the movies. Thanks for watching. If you have already watched the movies, thanks for watching. Just, you know, I'm glad I'm adding to the Tenchi fandom pool, because, you know, there aren't that many of us left, but we are a very vocal minority, and we love the shit out of this franchise. This is for you guys, from me. All right, this outro has gone on for way too long. I don't know how long I've been just BSing for. I don't script these outro segments. I just want to talk to you guys. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you later.